Hey everyone, Joe here from ActionX. Welcome to What's in the Tube, or welcome back. If this is your 7th Doom Patrol Season 3 episode review, before we get into it, I'll apologize ahead of time if social media wise I'm very inactive on the feeds the next couple days. It's personal stuff. Second of all, congratulations to Doom Patrol, which last week, like I confirmed at Fando, has been confirmed for the 4th season. We will be back hopefully next year with another round of Doom Patrol episode reviews. So I'm very excited for that. That's right. We will be returning for every Doom Patrol season 4 episode reviews next year. Hopefully, should nothing else happen between now and then. Titans also got renewed, so that's great as well. Hopefully, we'll get to try that again next year. But again, we'll see how things go. If I'm going to guesstimate, we'll be back next fall with another round of reviews. But until then, congrats to them, to the cast, to the crew, who is still, for Doom Patrol specifically, has pulled off one of the most weirdest superhero shows in the history of television. And believe me, Legends Tomorrow is a very close second, but Doom Patrol still manages to outpace it and win the day, as always. But yeah, again, congrats. Can't wait for that, and you also can't wait to see how they're going to wrap up this season. Hopefully, maybe they had known the fact that they were going to come back. So we'll see how that goes. No announcement about the Doom Patrol spinoff, which supposedly, I forgot if they were filming the pilot or they were shooting the show. I forgot. They didn't confirm it at Fando. I don't think that was the right place for it to announce it, but maybe soon. Maybe when Doom Patrol Season 3 ends, who knows. With that being said, let's stop about the future stuff. Let's go back right here in the present. Also the past too, I guess, considering in fact we're also still stuck in the past with Rita. This episode probably is the weirdest episode ever, and I think I say that every single week. Like, this is the weirdest episode ever. This is the weirdest episode ever, and it is. This has been a very intriguing way to plague supposedly this season's villains, and honestly, I'm all for it. And then also at the same time, I'm just confused, like, how quick and paced this episode went, but it worked out in the sense of, like, intensifying the conflict, and then really, but because there's the thing about the Doom Patrol, they're very much the weirdest people to get into conflict, since unlike a Flash or a Superman, their villains tend to show up very early on, so they know, like, this is the threat, we need to take care of him. For Doom Patrol, they really don't care. Mr. Nobody, I mean, yeah, sure, they had to for Nile, but then once they found out Nile was kind of like a piece of shit, they kind of said, fuck it. And then for Candlemaker last season, wasn't really much of, like, an imminent threat. They knew it was a threat, but they never really 100% tackled it on as a threat, because it just wasn't pertaining to them at the moment. Going into, for this season, they, without Niles there anymore, there definitely had to be, like, how do we get the Doom Patrol to actually take on the Sisterhood of Dada? And honestly, the way they set this conflict up is going to be very intriguing in terms of, like, how have the characters evolved to this point in the show, as well as will they be able to, like, put aside everything to actually manage to deal with this threat? Because the thing about this new threat is basically it's the same side of, like, every story is like, and everybody's story, they're the hero of it, and they have their own reason. It's kind of like when Infinity War did Thanos, as kind of like Thanos was kind of like the main character for Infinity War. We spent a lot more time with Thanos than the actual Avengers at times, and we understood why Thanos was doing it and what was his motivation and his goals, similar to, I think, maybe a Killmonger or a Baron Zemo or something along that sort. Sorry, I'm only mentioning Marvel villains because that's the first things that pop into my head. For the Sister Dada, even now, this is our second full episode seeing them as just an actual characters, not really putting in, like, the sense of, like, evil in there. You kind of understand them and their purpose. So let's go for the butcher recap and talk about this week's episode of Doom Patrol. So we begin with, do we begin with Larry vomiting? Is that how we begin? Or do we get another flashback? I don't entirely remember. Again, this is the weird thing about this episode, is that I should remember the orders, but, like, then again, this episode just gets so weird that I remember most of the times how the episode ends, but not really how the episode starts. That's usually my case with this. I want to say I want to say we do begin with the past, where I think we're a little bit ahead. It's not the same year as when Rita time travel there. She still has amnesia after all these years, supposedly. And so when she does get there, I want to say yeah, so it's been a few years, and so the Sisterhood of Dada have become a family, beyond friends and best friend. They're not a family. They've been together for so many years now. And so now, but however, they do notice a change in Clarice. I think that's her. The Mills. I'm going to call her Mills because I forgot. In Mills' behavior, she's acting a little bit more like traditional in terms of like what the agency they serve, because back when we saw her in the last episode, she was very much like team metas and like very much like with them all the time, but she's acting a little bit weird, a little bit sus. And she's also been recruiting a lot of more weapons to the program than normal, because I believe they were about to embark on the Cold War, or they were in the Cold War. I'm not sure. I forgot history for so many times, so I forgot. Where do we go? Yeah, I don't. Also, yeah, I'm pretty sure Rita and that bird dude, the guy who has like a bird rib cage, are in a relationship, or they're married. Not that I'm married. They're in a relationship, and they're working on this like cute little dance to perform for their friends. And yeah, it is apparently these people are in a war. They're all suited up, army soldiered up, ready for some sort of conflict. We come back to present day, where Larry has given birth to a parasite, and it was disgusting. And I was like, damn, that is literally really disgusting. It really is. And also there's like these mysterious posters that said Friday or like tomorrow or tonight. I forgot what the poster said specifically. Cyborg, meanwhile, is at his mom's friend's company that specializes in synthetic skin, which is the thing I forgot to mention last week, because Cyborg is having enough of being a cyborg and wants to look like a human being again. And given what she's saying is that because he has nanotech in his system, which explains why the cuts we got him in the first season, which have now just formed into new cybernetic skin. The good thing about it is that it will help them like really make things easier to remove the cybernetic parts and then just put the new synthetic skin. But however, again, as always, like while he's able to keep the mechanical organs and any sort of like artificial parts inside of him, physically outside, they're gone. Like the weapon system, the AI, that's all going to be gone. And so he has to be accepting of that, since even though, like, yeah, it is, like, something that he wasn't born with, it is something he's been living with for a good amount of years by this point with his dad at Star Labs. And she does make it clear that I would really like it for you to go to your dad and talk to him. Just make sure you're both on the same page, that this is what you want to do. Because, again, this is not just your life, it's also your dad's work. So you don't want to just throw away your dad's work. But at the same time, like, yeah, it is his body. It is his choice. We've had that argument so many times in the world. But, you have to be considerate that, your dad had a say in it too, so you might want to, give him a heads up too, or actually give him a fair conversation. But Victor's not really down for it. He doesn't want to do that right now. And the only one he wants to have a conversation with is his girl from a distance, the girl he slept with, but not his girlfriend, because they were both on like different sides of the law here. He manages to get through to her, and he tells her the news that he's gonna get the cybernetic parts removed and he's gonna have synthetic skin, and she doesn't react to it well, because she always thought that despite their differences, they're two sides of the same coin. Like, having the cybernetic upgrades, having that sense of like doing what's right, but they have different methods to get to that point, where she wants to do whatever it takes and Cyborg wants to be the goody superhero and do it the logistic way. But at the end of the day, they're both the same core. So in her opinion, him removing the cybernetic parts of him that make him what he is kind of destroys any sort of like whatever kind of grounds their relationship has by this point. But again, he doesn't listen, decides to continue through. Cliff, in the meanwhile, has come clean about his selling addiction, and actually does admit to Jane that he sold her records and a lot of other things from one of her other personas' possessions, and she does not react very well to it, since this is a big betrayal of trust, and Cliff had no real permission to do any of this, which I'm like, we know that, but Cliff tries to excuse it, like tries to like blame it on, oh, it was this thing, like I was so close to getting it and I almost had the money on my own, but then I lost it. And that was hilarious. But still, regardless of the case, I do feel bad for him. But while Jane's in the middle of arguing with him, she starts choking, and we assume that she's just choking on her cereal, but no, it turns out she gets a poster from the Sisterhood Dada that there's supposed to be a big event tonight, and they're invited, but obviously they don't know what it is. But Babyface, that's the personality's name. takes over Jane and basically sends Cliff over back to his daughter and his and her wife and his new grandbaby's house as punishment, because Cliff is still not 100%. Like, remember, the last time we saw them, he was still dealing with the fact that he has was it Parkinson's, or was it I forgot what the terminology was, the disease for his hand and his mental brain. So, but he's not 100% from all this freaking, drug binge he's been going on. So that was his punishment for him to, like, try to act normal so he doesn't scare off his newfound family. And they're initially welcoming of him. Cliff manages to hold it in for a while. And even though the baby does somehow feel comfortable around a metal robotic body, they do notice the hand issue is coming back. It's not fixed. And even after Cliff suggests, like, go out, go have a night on the town, like, you guys deserve it. They don't, not his daughter, but her wife does notice the hand and he's not ready to be home with him alone yet. That's not happening. And then they stupidly decided, like, we'll go out for a little bit, for like a little second, don't worry about it. So they leave Cliff just alone for a couple of hours. But however, one thing, they stupidly gave him the credit card to their thing. I'm like, no, that is not something you want to give to a fucking druggie right now. Not at all. And even though Cliff has the best values at heart, he's still not there yet to, like, be there. It's all going about the mental issues that this show deals with. That Cliff, at his core, he wants to be there for his daughter now. He wants to be there for his new grandbaby. The problem is that he's dealt with so much shit, and he's going through something right now that it's not easy for him to, like, turn that off and just be that focused. He has to go through some stuff before he can be there for them. So I think he's gonna have to learn that lesson at some point. What else there we go. I know Jane is having some issues with the real, the original personality, the real girl that's, like, in charge of all this, who's still going for puberty, but she hits an impasse when someone steals her bike, and she hates this feeling she's having, and she hates growing up, and decides, like, I'm gonna stop growing up. I don't want to grow up anymore. Which I'm like, sorry, unless they recast you're gonna still grow up. That ain't gonna happen. Yeah, so Jane's going through that right now with the other personalities, about how they're dealing with, trying to stop her from growing up and stopping the stability they've been having lately. They've been trying all these ways. I know Mills in our present day is still trying to figure out how to, like, stop the sisterhood of Dada from coming in. She's just trying to find solutions, and she's not really getting anywhere with that. I know she dropped by Larry's room. Well, not physically, but just, like, by that metal door that divides the house to his room. She notices the parasite, and she asks Larry, what the hell does this come from? And he's like, I don't know. Like, last thing I remember, I went to a freaking parallel world. I was with some people, and she thinks, yeah, it's an alien parasite. The only thing you gotta do is kill it. And for some reason, Larry, he can't put himself to kill the little thing. Like, it's a little larva, and I'm like, kill the son of a bitch. This could start the freaking end of the world again, so please do not. Just don't. But he doesn't listen, and he decides to bring him out to the woods in a backpack with 2 pieces of bread, a bottle of water, and a scarf as a blanket. I'm like, you, sir, have forgotten your parenting skills, apparently, in the last, almost century you've been bandaged up. Let's just get that out of the way right now. Let's just say that. Which I'm like, we're going to come back to this later. We will at some point in the season. I want to say this is where everyone starts getting interfered, because back in the Sisterhood Dada, in the 40s, they're having one of their nightly, fun sessions. Rita and her boyfriend are performing the dance, and the Japanese woman that is able, like, everyone's able to understand her despite the language barrier, is now questioning their existence. And I'm like, oh boy, here we go. Because again, here's the thing, like, they've just been outcasts for so long. Like, they don't want quarrels. They're pacifists in a way. They don't want to have an issue. They just literally peacefully either argue, or they basically just roll over and just, like, that's the way it is. And I get that from that. I get that. So I'm like, how do you turn those characters into supposedly these villains we're supposed to be scared of? And the lady's like, why are we doing this? And I'm just thinking to myself, oh, that's where the line, why is Gamora, comes from. But it's not. But what's funny about that, well, not funny, but like what's intriguing about that, she just questions like, why are we doing, like, is this all we're meant to do, just be working in like the slums of this agency and just live like this? Like, there's more we could be doing, but what is that thing we should be doing? And everyone, and she even brings up this like something internal dance or something that they should be the emergence dance or something, and it's a little confusing to say the least. But everyone decides to agree with it and like, yeah, let's do it, let's try that. But meanwhile, for the mills of the 40s, apparently she's been working with the agency to like, okay, now we need to bring these in. These people have to become, these metas that are not classified as weapons to actually weapons. We need to use them. They need to fight for us. But of course, Mills has that internal conflict of like, these are my family. But at the same time, she swore loyalty to this agency. So we need to find out what is she going to choose at the end, which doesn't take that long. But as a weird timing frame, the fog, whoever uses the fog as their weapon, they start summoning the Doom Patrol members from their individual corners. Sans Larry, Cyborg, while he was about to go under for his surgery, Cliff, while he's about to use his daughter's credit card for like another round of like gambling and his freaking webcam girl, and then Jane, when she's trying to explain to the little girl the main little girl, that, hey, look, the bicycle stealing was just an accident. They lost it by accident. Do not worry. It's not all this big deal. And then she really swears, like, I will never grow up again. And so they get taken out on these very critical junctures of their storyline. They literally get plucked out of there, and then they just, get dropped into, like, the main conflict, which honestly kind of you can describe, like, any of the Avengers when, like, they're doing their solo films. They're doing their own solo things, and then like, there's this bigger friends, like, nope, Avengers time, come on, let's go. Let's get over that. Let's go make some money. The present day DeMille notices the fog, and, is trying to barricade the rest of the house from it, but Larry just walks in. It's like, what's going on? And she says, "Fuck it." She literally destroys the freaking cardboard barrier she tried to make, and they just go in, and we see all the Doom Patrol members again, sans Rita, literally like hung up like this, and it's freaking funny. And I'm just thinking to myself, what the hell are they trying to do here? Like, what are they trying to do? But beyond that, they start dancing at the same time. The Sisterhood Data back in the 40s, they start dancing too. While coincidentally, DeMills in both timelines is in the same position, except one DeMills is trying to keep the calm and peace of what's about to happen, while the other DeMills is like very confused, like, what the fuck is going on? Why do I remember? Why does this feel like deja vu to me? And this was the moment when like the agency soldiers start warming in, start putting down the Sisterhood Dada in kneeling position, and this was around the same time the Doom Patrol members do the same thing as well. It's kind of like a parallel deja vu sort of. Yeah, and then they reveal that like it's time for them to like get in on the fight, which they don't want to, and even DeMills tries for a brief moment to try and like say, no, they're just pacifists. They're not meant to be soldiers. Just keep them in the mailroom. But he's not listening to them. He's like, nope, they have to fight. It's time for them to fight. So classify them for the last time so that we can move forward. And this is when the Doom Patrol start figuring out, wait a minute, you're having a flashback. And somehow you're freaking involving us in it. Which I'm like, duh. Weird. It's like a physical, interactive flashback, if that makes any sort of sense. So this is around the time where DeMille finally starts getting her real memories back, with the stamping of like the weapons, and then just the parallels of what's going on between the 40s to now, and then the real Rita, because in the 40s timeline, Rita stands up to kind of like try to talk her out of it, but she doesn't do it, and then one of the soldiers. This is one of the things I hate about these soldiers. Like, they know what they're about to do is wrong, and then they freaking scar someone. It's like, just stay in your position and stop. You're going to create a freaking villain down the line. And this one guy does, and Rita's boyfriend takes the electrocution blast, the shock. But then what I found weird is that, why did he die? Like, it was just an electrocution. He should have been stunned like just then. But I remember the bird is what keeps him alive. The bird is his heart. That's his meta. He's classified as a meta because literally he can only live if the bird is somehow still alive in there. And then so the electrocution kills the bird, which kills him, and Rita obviously feels distraught and destroyed. And DeMille does not feel any sort of remorse at all. And Rita escapes back into her block form and escapes the room. And then back in the present day, Rita, the real Rita, is there too. Like our this is the weird about the time. Like, we had our Rita, and then our Rita went back in time to join the 20s or the 30s or the 40s, and well, eventually the 40s. And then she escapes, and presumably she does break the Sisterhood Dada out of their imprisonment. So at the same time, there were two Ritas. I'm presuming we'll see how the next 3 episodes paint this picture. There was 2 Ritas living in the same timeline, except one was just planning their scheme against the Doom Patrol, while the other one was like awaiting to like join them, if that makes any sort of sense. But yeah, so once the real Rita appeared, they get flogged out of their escapement and head to the outside of the manor where the rest of the Dada are located, and everyone's just confused and shocked. And there's like a big egg in like a cage, and it turns out it's a reincarnation or the resurrection of the guy that Mills technically killed. And she's saying, I didn't kill him, it was the soldier. But he's like, you could have stopped it. You could have just not let us get caught, or not let us, let that happen to us. And they're like, as you need to make even and let him go, because he hatches into like this weird, like, first we get the assholes, like the freaking butt monsters. Now we get the butterfly with the bird with the face, and I'm just like so fucking creeped out by it. I'm like, oh, please, no more. Let's stop there. And so I think from that point onwards, but Mills refuses to do it because, like, for her, it's like, I didn't do anything wrong. I followed what I thought was right. You can't make me do it. And Rita gets so mad because this was the one chance to have Mills kind of make peace for what she did. But she gets so mad that she opens the barrier, and then the one freaking butterfly bird thing just starts spawning into millions of little ones. So I'm just like so confused and creepy. This is probably like the creepiest thing I ever saw on television in my life, and I've seen a lot of messed up things. I want to say DeMills gets teleported away. I don't remember what the frick happened. That's the weird thing. I don't remember what happens to DeMills. I know, like, oh no, she turns into a bird once she starts seeing the flock trying to escape. And then the other the Dada members just fall out of there, like, knowing, like, okay, their work's done for the day, we're moving on. And this is also the beginning of the reckoning. Their way of pruning the real bad people of the world, all the messed up people, which sadly does not exclude our heroes. As one by one they start getting taken away. And it is really hilarious. And then we see Jane, like, with multiple of them, I think, representation of, like, what they're currently going through. I'm pretty sure we just see all the personalities in, like, the freaking butterfly bird form. And I'm just like, to the VFX artists who had to make this sort of thing, I give you props. And hopefully you didn't get nightmares after you made this scene. And that's where this episode ends for the week. So, again, I very much like the way they are framing the Sisterhood of Dada. Like, we understand what they're fighting for. The way they're doing it is a little bit extreme because, just the way it is. But I am very curious to see what they only briefly mentioned. Like, they went through so much shit during the last 70 years because Mills put them there. So now it's time for them to get justice for what they experienced. And whether or not Rita was there the whole time is another big question. Like, the whole Rita timeline thing is going to be, like, a very interesting point to take for the next 3 weeks. And, like, yeah, like, the Sisterhood of Dada are not bad people per se. They just been wrong, but at the same time, like, what they're doing is just, for me, it's not the right approach you should be taking this. And obviously the Doom Patrol are, like, now sucked into it. So how do they get out of it? How do they figure this out? Who knows? We'll figure it out sooner or later. But honestly, I'm just I'm very intrigued by what's going to happen next. And again, the way they're framing them, I love it. I like it. Just the way they just unnecessarily had to pluck them out of every individual character's storylines is just, it's funny. Whether or not we take a pause with their storylines until next season, because that just seems to be the running thing. Like, they're in the middle of this development, they're in this middle of this crucial point of their story, and then, like, the bigger scheme of things kind of takes over, and we have to put a pause on them. So I'm not sure if that will be the case, but, like, we'll see how that goes, and we'll see. But overall, weirdest episode of Doom Patrol, but it's still not a strong episode. I really much enjoyed it, and I'm gonna give this episode 2 thumbs up. And I believe that's going to do for me today, everyone. So if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX, reviewing every episode in the 3rd season of Doom Patrol. If you want to know what we're doing normally in What's in the Tube besides our Doom Patrol episode reviews, we're currently doing Nancy Drew Season 3 episode reviews each and every Saturday mornings after a brand new episode on Friday nights on the CW or for the next day on the CW app. We are currently doing also the Rookie Season 4 episode reviews each and every Monday mornings after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on ABC or on Hulu the next day, but we're off next week, so no episode review then. We also do Heel reviews normally every Tuesday morning after a brand new episode on Sunday nights on Stars, but next week is our final video for that run. It is the Heel Season 1 review, so that's going to be awesome. And then we also do DC Stargirl Season 2 episode reviews each and every Wednesday mornings after a brand new episode on Tuesday nights on the CW. As well as starting next week, we are beginning our Walker Season 2 episode reviews, which will be, Walker starts on next week Thursday night, which also is the same night as our Doom Patrol reviews. So what's going to happen? Well, I've thought long and hard about this, and for me, and this is a very, so for the next 2 weeks, next week we'll have 6 review series, but then afterward, obviously Heels is wrapping up next week, and then afterwards, Stargirl and Doom Patrol will be wrapping up following suit. So it's not that crazy of a schedule for now. It's just going to be all over the place. Next week, Walker will take over the Friday time slot because it is coming back. It is the hot, fresh new return. So for next week, Doom Patrol will be moved over to Saturdays. And then I thought about it. So from now on, Doom Patrol reviews will be coming out every Saturday morning until the end of its run. So unless we have a big milestone Nancy Drew episode or a Walker episode that could be pushed, Doom Patrol will be now every Saturday mornings to accommodate for Walker's return. But again, remember, Doom Patrol is wrapping up pretty soon because after this episode we have 3 more episode reviews, and then the season 3 review, and then afterwards we have the big old season 4 predictions video. So I think that takes us to the first week of December. So it is a lot, but it is sadly what has to be. So you have an extra couple days to watch the Doom Patrol episode when it comes out. So so just keeping you aware on that. But again, things are subject to change, and also Nancy Drew will be pumped back to Sunday mornings from now on because of the change. It's only temporarily. Because once Doom Patrol is over, Nancy Drew will go back to Saturdays, and we'll see how it goes. It's a never confusing schedule, but we are wrapping up 3 shows within the next month, so this is just something that sadly I got forced into because of the network schedules. But then again, it's not really my fault. At the end of the day, we're just doing what's best here. But again, I already repeated before with the Doom Patrol schedule, so so we're on the final run on the last 5 weeks of this series, so. It's been fun. It's been a blast. We're not done yet. We're not even close to done yet, but I'm just saying, it's been fun so far. It's been a very fun 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's been a fun 5 weeks so far. Another 5 weeks to go. We're at the halfway mark, so it's been fun. It's been fun. Is there anything else I need to mention? I know we got a special review. Oh yeah, also we did the Turner and Hooch season 1 review yesterday, so go check that out if you haven't. It's our It was a fun show. Go watch the review if you want to hear more of it. But I think we have another one of that coming out next week. I don't remember what it is for. I know it's on the schedule. The schedule's right over there, but I'm I can't. The freaking the OBS is taking over the screen, so I can't really see it. But again, if you want to get Doom Patrol, you're in luck. We'll be back next week Saturday for another episode review. So I'll see you about a little bit more than a week. But again, if you're unaware, this has been What's in the Tube from ActionX. Please subscribe to us on youtube.com/ActionXvideos. Like, favorite, share this review if you want to, but it helps us get us out there to other members of the Fan Patrol who has yet to discover us. It helps us beat up the YouTube algorithm that hates me ever so much in life, as well as sharing this for free here on the interwebs. Please also ring that bell for notification when our next Doom Patrol review is live, which is now, for the time being, every Saturday mornings. And please follow us on social media to stay up to date with any sort of updates for the channel. But until then, for all you members of the Fan Patrol, I'll see you all next week Saturday from now on for the next episode review. But until then, stay safe out there, be good to each other, and as always, peace out.